Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tash and I've recently been thinking about fantasy books, specifically standalone fantasy books, because I don't come across many of those in my reading experience. I don't know about you. So I've had a scroll through my story graph and I've come up with a list of my top 10 standalone fantasy books. So hope you like it. Let's jump in with number 10. In the number 10 spot, I have Starling House by Alix Harrow, and keep watching because she may pop up again on this list a little bit later. So I'm definitely interested in picking up her latest release. I think it's called The Everlasting. I've heard quite good things about it, so we'll see. But with Starling House, this follows a character called Opal. She is an orphan, a high school dropout, and she is the primary carer for her younger brother. His name is, I've got my notes, Jasper, and she wants a better life for him, so she ends up taking a job as a cleaner for the master of Starling House. Now this town is known for many things, but it's known for its bad luck, but also a prolific author that used to live there who disappeared over a century ago that is connected to this house, and there are lots of secrets, lots of weird things going on there. Very eerie, very creepy, haunted house kind of vibes, but with a little fantasy twist going on. The reason this is at number 10 is because it's a little bit slow to start. When I was reading it, it took me quite a while to get through like the first chunk, but once I was in, I was like flying through the pages. So definitely worth a read. Just sort of try and push through that first 75 pages or so and you will absolutely love it. In the number 9 spot, I have Flowerheart by Bakewell. This is one of the more light-hearted reads on this list. It follows Clara, whose magic has always been wild and unruly, but never dangerous, until one touch accidentally causes a poisonous plant to grow in her father's chest, slowly killing him. And the only way that she can stop it is with a really powerful but very complex spell that she doesn't have the skill to perform. And the only person willing to help her is her former best friend, Silvia, who asks for a terrible price in return for his help. This has such major cottagecore vibes, I can't even describe it. I mean, the cover tells you everything you need to know about this book. It is absolutely stunning. Little like flower illustrations in all the chapters. It's just really, really fun. I love the magic system and the whole little world that's built in here, and I particularly love Clara's flower magic. It's just such a unique, fun idea. I really enjoyed this one, so that's why it's number 9. At number 8, we have The 10,000 Doors of January, also by Alix Harrow. This was her debut, I think, and it's also the first book of hers that I read. So maybe it's sort of nostalgic and it holds a special place in my heart because of that. But this is my favourite of hers, and it's just so unique to me. This follows, believe it or not, January, who is the ward of a wealthy man in a massive mansion, and one day she comes across a book that carries the scent of other worlds and tells the story of doors that lead to these other worlds. And as the more she reads, the more that these stories become entwined with her own life. Now, another reason why I love this book is because I am a huge fan of portal fantasy, specifically the Wayward Children series by Sean Maguire. I know we're not talking about fantasy series, but I'm obsessed with those books. I wait for them to drop every year and I just can't get enough of them. So this kind of gives sort of similar vibes to that. They're quite different still, but just the idea of doors to other worlds is just really appealing to me. Maybe because I don't know, maybe because I hate my life, but I just love them. So I always think of this book, and I really love that I managed to get it on my shelf. I think I found this in a charity shop actually, which is wild. So that one is number 8. At number 7, we have the most recent standalone fantasy book I have read, and that is The Starving Saints by Caitlin Starling. I'll try not to go on too much about it because I know I've talked about it recently, but this follows 3 women who are stuck in a Mar castle that is under siege. Food's running out, people are very sick, and there is no hope for rescue when the saints suddenly arrive, heal all the sick, seemingly bring food with them, although no one really knows how, and the castle falls into this chaos that these 3 women are the only ones that can sort that out and fix it and save themselves and save the people around them. It kind of falls more on the horror side. Definitely still fantasy, definitely still fantastical, magical elements in here, but just be warned that it is a bit disturbing, can get a bit gross, quite frightening, so bear that in mind. But this one is brilliant. The only reason it's not any higher is because the ending just kind of wrapped up a little bit too neatly for me. It's a real pet peeve of mine when these massive unbeatable threats are just easily defeated, not much fanfare, and that's kind of what happens in here. But in general, the whole vibes, the whole setting, the whole world is really vibrant, really vivid, and it's really, really good. Highly recommend. At number, spoilers. At number 6 is Gods of Jade and Shadow by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I have a real love-hate relationship with Silvia Moreno Garcia. I've read 2 books and DNF'd 1. I've read this one, The Seventh Veil of Salome, which was kindly gifted to me by Del Rey, I think it was. Yeah, last year for review, which is the first book I've ever received for review. And I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favourite, but I definitely did enjoy it. And I tried to read Mexican Gothic recently and I just didn't get on with it and sadly had to DNF that one. But this one I read on my Kindle a couple years ago, and then I managed to find this copy in a charity shop, which seems to always happen to me. Crazy. And I absolutely loved it. This follows Cassiopeia and is set in Jazz Age Mexico, which is a setting I have never read before, nor have I read ever since. One day while she's cleaning, she accidentally frees the Mayan god of death, and he tasks her with helping him return to his realm and take back the throne from his treacherous brother. And failure could mean death, but success could mean all of her dreams come true. So this takes you through like the jungles. It's like kind of like a road trip story, but it takes you through like the jungles, the cities, and then into the Mayan underworld. And as well as being in a setting that I've never really read from before, I've never really read anything about Mayan mythology. So again, this was another really interesting one for me because I love reading about unique mythologies. Like sometimes it just feels like it's all the same things. It's Greek, it's Celtic, Roman, like that kind of thing. So I find it really interesting to read about, different cultures, mythologies and things like that. So this is a really, really good one. The writing is very lyrical, which is, standard for Silvia Moreno Garcia. So if you have any recommendations of hers that are like this one, then definitely let me know because this one was so good. Now, I know I've just kind of crapped on Greek mythology, but the 2 books that sit sort of in the middle at 5th and 4th place on this list are Medea by Rosie Hewlett and Herc by Phoenicia Rodgerson. I don't know if that's how you say her name. They're kind of interchangeable to me because every time I tried to think about which one was going first, I kept changing my mind. So they kind of just, they're both 4th and 5th place. I can't distinguish between them. I'll start with Medea. I love when specifically mythology really flips things on its head. When you take a character and sort of reimagine them from a different perspective, or even from a perspective they were intended as in like the classical sense. So for example, I really love it when they take the character like Medusa, which I think Rosie Hewlett has written about as well, and they don't make her the villain, they make her the protagonist, the hero, or something like that. Different translations, different interpretations, all that stuff. Anyway, that's the case with Medea. Traditionally in Greek mythology, she's sort of not thought of very nicely. For those who don't know, Medea is the witch that helped Jason retrieve the Golden Fleece, and then they end up getting married, having some kids, and then some things happen. And I'm not going to spoil it because I know it's, like a centuries, millennia old story, but I didn't know about it going in, so other people also may not know. They give Medea so much more agency and strength in this story. It's written so well, and it's one that I was just absolutely flying through. I just needed to know what more was going to happen. It's all about the cruelty of all the men around her from literally from the start of her life. It's a very feminist story, if you're interested in that, and if you're not, then. And then on to Herc, which kind of does the same thing but in the opposite way. So you can probably tell it's about Hercules, but it's not told in the traditional sense through his perspective. It's told through the perspectives of all the people in his life around him, all the people that he affects, from his wives, his lovers, his friends, his villains, his enemies. his victims, and it paints a more broad picture of his life and the people that he hurt and the people that all the lives he touched. And again, it's a little bit queer, it's very feminist, it's really unique. I've never read a book like it. Each chapter is, a different person's perspective. It's sort of in the chronology of his life, but we never hear from him. We just see the effects of his actions and what they do to all the people around him. It's really, really good. I can't really say much more than that. It's just, both of these books are just brilliant. Every time I think, oh, Herc, I'm going to put that at number 4, I go, oh yeah, but Medea was also so good. So I'm very sorry, but they are joint 4th and 5th. That's the best I can do with those. We have another very recent read at number 3, and that is Katabasis by R F Kuang. So again, I'm going to try not to babble on, unintended, about this one because I know I've spoken about it quite a lot recently, but this follows Alice and Peter as they descend into hell to try and retrieve the soul of their recently deceased professor, and shit happens, man. Shit happens. It's dark, it's beautiful. The magic system is really unique and interesting. I just really love this one. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but honestly, please go read it. It's brilliant. Oh, and don't forget that my read along is still open on Storygraph, so if you want to join that, then the link is in the description. Okay, number 2. Now, this is a very, very close first. Before I read number 1, this was my favourite standalone fantasy, and that is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie. Similarly to Gods of Jade and Shadow, I read this on my Kindle, and then the next time I went into a charity shop, there it was for £2, this beautiful, gorgeous hardback of a book that I absolutely love. So I just have a gift, apparently. I'm sorry, can't explain it. This is about Mina, and Mina's home is constantly ravaged by terrible storms that destroy a lot of things. So once a year, the community, the people, sacrifice their most beautiful maiden to the sea god. And this particular year, the woman that's been chosen is her brother's, not lover, but he's in love with her. And to save them both, Mina sacrifices herself and ends up in the spirit realm, where she finds that the sea god is in an enchanted slumber, and she teams up with a bunch of people in the spirit realm to try and find a way to wake him so that he can stop these terrible storms from destroying her home. But there are people out there who do not want that to happen. They want the sea god to stay asleep. So it's a little bit tricky, and not to mention that a human can't survive for very long in the spirit realm, so she's got a very limited amount of time to actually pull this off. So there are quite high stakes. It's very lyrical, very emotional. It's just gorgeous. The spirit realm, the way that it's described, stunning. I would love to reread this soon. It's not super long. The text is also quite big, so it really isn't that long of a read. I really need to pick it up again soon because not only is this cover absolutely stunning, but the contents are just as stunning as well. Really, really, really good. I'm so sorry you're number 2, but there is one that beats you. And staying on theme, at number 1 spot goes to Water Moon by Samantha, Sotto, Yambao. Oh, I love this book so much. I wouldn't be surprised if I reread this at least once a year because it is just so beautiful. This is a contemporary fantasy about a pawn shop in Tokyo that not everyone can see. Most people will just see a cozy little ramen restaurant, but those who are lost, emotionally lost, will find the pawn shop and have the opportunity to sell life choices or regrets so that they don't upset them anymore. And on the day that Hannah's father retires and she is set to take over the pawn shop, she wakes up and discovers that the pawn shop has been ransacked. One of the choices has been stolen and her father is missing. And then a charming stranger walks in and offers his help. So both of them go on an adventure through this absolutely amazing world to find this missing choice and find her missing father. Like, they jump through puddles to different places. They ride on the back of like paper cranes and attend a night market on a cloud. It's just, I can't describe to you what this, it is so dreamlike, it in just such a comforting and cozy way. I just love this book so much, and I could read 1,000 books set in this world, not necessarily with these characters as much as I love the characters, but I could definitely see this being like a companion series, which would be a shame because then it wouldn't qualify for this list anymore. But the world is so rich and vivid, and it's one of those fantasy books that isn't really strict with its magic rules. It has rules, you can't just do anything you want, but it's so fluid, and the level of creativity that it takes to come up with some of these things is outstanding. So whatever this author releases next, I am going to be picking up because it is fantastic. And that is my list. I'll be honest, I didn't have a huge amount to choose from, but I'm quite happy with the picks that I've got. I think that I wasn't digging. I wasn't like scraping the bottom of the barrel. I am really pleased with all of the books that I have talked about today. They're all excellent examples of standalone fantasy, which is a hard genre to pull off, which I think is why a lot of them end up being kind of like a contemporary fantasy or a historical fantasy that is sort of grounded in our reality but with fantastical elements, because that's a lot easier to explain and describe in such a small space than like a full-blown fantasy world. So that makes a lot of sense to me, and these ones have done a good job. They have done a very, very good job. Are there any that I missed? Have you got any standalone fantasy books that you would recommend that you think I would enjoy based off of the ones that I showed you today? If you do, let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos from me, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Have a lovely rest of the day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!